Sali heute zusammen und grüezi miteinander. Welcome to the fifth edition of the Swiss German Initiative. My name is Fabian. Okay, it started. Before we begin, just some administrative information. Welcome to the fifth edition of the Swiss German Initiative. My name is Fabian. Maybe by now somebody is interested in joining the stream. So, just as a reminder, if you like to do that, please create a Discord account. Comment your account name in the respective Join the Stream post, which are pinned on the R Schweizerdeutsch sub, so that I can send you the link, so you could join in a coming episode. Comment your account name in the respective. If you have any questions, you can either post them in the chat or I made a post on our Schweizerdeutsch questions with today's date. And one other thing is, which I thought that anyone would ask it someday, is why I used the TC in the R Schweizerdeutsch sub and not simply C. And the answer is that the spelling, which should be non-existing anyway, was changed somewhere in the 18 or 1900s. They Germanized it. Before it was used like in English, or it was written like in English, not all the times, but it wasn't set in stone. So people would actually write Schweizer, not Schweizer. And in the 18 or 1900s they changed it. And as it's still used in English, I thought it would be funny to write it like that. But now I got a little bit more traffic on YouTube, and I thought it was not the best idea, because if somebody is searching for Schweizerdeutsch and tries to learn it on YouTube, they will write Schweizerdeutsch without a CH, and my channel will not be high up. The next problem is that Schweizerdeutsch was already taken on YouTube, so I simply named it now Lern Schweizerdeutsch. That's in the link, not the channel name itself. The next problem is that thanks to the holidays and the business trip I have next week or the next 2 weeks, I didn't have so much time to prepare, so today will probably be a little bit shorter. And to appease the YouTube algorithm, as I always have to say, leave a like and subscribe. So let's continue with the segment Holier Than Thou. In my head I had planned to do the next Holier Than Thou segment, where I finished the Middle Ages and reached industrialization. So in the next episode I could reach the current era. This should lead to a transition from history to mindset. So the title would actually be made clear. But reality is a little bit faster, and the media landscape will be filled with stories from Cannes or Gran Montana for the next month or two. So let's get through some words and phrases you might hear, so you can follow the conversation. And just FYI, I will not get into the event or the story itself. I simply will present some words. So let's get through some words and phrases. So the first thing you will hear is Vetterli Wirtschaft or Vettere Wirtschaft. Vetterli or Vettere is, or German Vettern Wirtschaft, means nepotism. A Vetter actually is derived from Vater's Bruder, so the brother of your father. Today we call that uncle or Onkel in Swiss German. And at first, as the name suggests, it referred only to the brother of your father. But nowadays it's used for both parents, and as uncle is used. And I read that it can be used Vetter for cousin, but I never heard that or used it in that way. So simply people use uncle. And one thing I find funny, but I'm not sure which dialect it actually is, where it's still is pronounced unkle and not unkel, like in Swiss or in German. And I think it's funny because it's the same like in English, or written practically the same. Now, the next word you will hear is filz. Filz is the textile felt. But if you use it like as Ischen Filz in a reference to a group of people, it implies nepotism or corruption. Next one would be Kantönligeist. It stems from two words, Kanton and Geist, and it's with the diminutive suffix. I don't like this expression, so I will call it from now on simply cutified version. So the uncutified version would be the Kantonsgeist, which means the spirit of the canton. But we have the cutified version. It implies that it's lesser than, or if you want the rule for the cutified version, what it actually means with the li, it's a smaller or less serious or less worth than. We have the cutified version. And as the case is, if something is already small or cute, it gets even cuter or even smaller. And yeah, let's go to the next one. We have Sasselkleber, or German Sisselkleber. This is a I cannot talk today. Derogatory term for somebody who is too long in a position at work, military, or I don't know, in a club or something. It implies that this person blocks this position. Then we have schlampig or schlampt. Now, schlampig actually stems from something hanging, flabby, or saggy. You don't use it in that way today anymore. But today, if you do something schlampig, it's used in a manner that you did something neglectful or careless, and you screwed it up. So if you say, hast geschlampt beim Schaffen, it means you worked carelessly, and doing so you screwed up the work. Oh shit. Sorry, I just realized I had the stream open and probably you heard it twice. I'm really sorry for that. Damn. Anyway, I muted it now. So let's continue. Man, this is a good start. Where were we? Screwing up the work. Yes. So you have schlampe and schlampig. Difference, a schlampe is used for a person, and it's derogatory, and it means that somebody is sexually promiscuous, or it's a derogatory word for a prostitute. Now, this word actually started only be used for women, but nowadays it can be used for both sexes. And if you say somebody is schlampig bekleidet, or how I say, schlampig is less derogatory for if you say it for a person. If you say somebody looks like a schlampe, sorry my French, it means that this person is looking like a prostitute. If somebody is dressed schlampig, it means it's scruffy looking or too sexually open, something like that. Then next one will be, hello? Oh, oops, no, I'm too fast. So, Ixasse or Altixasse. This is kind of like Sasselkleber, but Sasselkleber is always negative. Ixasse or Altixasse can be both, depending on how it's used. And this Ixasse, so sitting in something, it's what I want to have a look at next. So the prefix I, ein, versus ihr, hinein. So we have I or ich as a prefix for a word. In German it would be one or ein. So in or into. It's a separable prefix, so depending how you use it, it will be separated and set to the end of the sentence. It's always in combination with a verb, and you have different rules for masculine, feminine, and the neuter version. And while a neuter version exists for all of them, only some have a feminine or masculine version. You create the neuter version with the substantivization of the infinite form, which is pretty difficult to say that you simply put an S before the infinite or present form. Or in German it would be das, in Swiss German it's das is s. So this prefix, the I prefix, is, or ein in German, is a lot easier than the ver, as the general meaning of the word doesn't change. So I have some examples, and I structured them as noun, verb in infinite or present form, and then the verb in the past form. And there's a difference from Swiss German to German, that in Swiss German you can always use the infinite form without splitting it, or splitting by, put the I at the end of the sentence. Because you can simply use the tue or han. Ich habe mich eingeschafft. Ich tue mich einschaffen, and so forth. So here we have a couple of examples. First, the neuter form. The rule, as I said, neuter article, which is in German would be das, and in Swiss German es, so s. Now we have einrühren or einrühren. This has multiple meanings. While in German it means stir, or being emotionally moved or touched, or moving itself. In Swiss German it means also throwing. And while it could be used as moving in Swiss German, you rather use a different expression for that. It's really uncommon that anyone uses rühren in form of moving, except in the military. Now you have einrühren, or which would be the exact same thing as einwerfen, is throwing something into something else. Like putting the mail into the mailbox, which be the Brief einwerfen, or the Brief einrühren. Or putting another coin into the jukebox, something like that. Now, the only case where it's not interchangeable is in stuff like football, where it's a defined term, where it's der Einwurf in Hochdeutsch. So you would use the Einwurf instead of einrühren. Einrühren sounds completely wrong. Nobody would get it what you mean. Another thing einrühren could mean is that you stir something into something else. But that's not really used that much. Oh, oops! Today is not my day. Then I have singen. Where am I? 1 second. So, means einsingen. So it's to warm up for singing. So, ich sing mich ein, oder ich tue noch einsingen. Ich habe mich schon eingesungen. Next one is hocken, so einhocken. Hocken stems from die Hocke, so crouching. But if it's not used in the noun form, i.e. tochi, it means sitting in Swiss German. And it's completely interchangeable with sitze. So if you sit down, it's absitze or abhocken. If you have been sitting, it's gesessen sein or ich bin gehockt. And so forth. Let's get to the masculine form. The rule is, or kind of rule is, if the word exists by itself as a noun or masculine noun without the E, it's masculine. So Stand, der Stand, you get Einstand, I-Stand. The I-Stand is the start of something, like the first day of a job. I-Stand in itself can be, but isn't really used as a noun in Swiss German. We only use it like if you stand for somebody, or how I say, ich stehe für etwas ein. Ich bin für etwas eingestanden. Something like that, so that you vouch or avouch for something. Then we have Eintritt in German. That's the entry or the entry fee. So zahlst noch den Eintritt. So to pay the entry fee. Now, this, apart from the noun, it's not really used in Swiss German that much. So eintreten is some. Ich tue irgendwo eintreten. You don't use that, because if you join a club, it would be beitreten, not eintreten. Eintreten is really just getting into a room or something, and that's not used in Swiss German. And here the G is dropped in the past form in Zürichdeutsch, so it's the exact same form. It's not eingetreten. I'm not sure if, I say, on some words, or in this case, I'm not sure, but in some words, some dialects say the G, but here Swiss German, in Zürichdeutsch, it's dropped. And next one would be Eintrag is an entry, such as an entry into a list or book or database. And eintragen and eintrite, simply you write in the entry, or you already have written in the entry. And the last one will be Einwand, so Einwand. In English, objection. Now this is a special case because it stems from wenden, which would be feminine in German, das wenden. Now in German, as same as in English, you raise an objection. I mean, you can object, but I say it's, yeah, you actually you raise the objection. So I think this is why, I'm not really sure because I didn't have the time to look it up. It's you use it in a little bit different form. So ich habe noch etwas einzuwenden. Ich habe noch etwas einzuwenden. Not ich tue noch etwas einwenden. You have to put a set in there. Exact same if it's the ich habe noch etwas eingewendet. Sounds really weird. You would say ich habe noch Einwand erhoben. You use it in that form. It works. It would be understandable, but it's a weird form, so it's not really used. And last but not least, let's go to the feminine form. The rule would be remove the infinite ending, so remove the ä, and add an ik. So you have die Einrichtung instead of einrichten. And Einrichtung is, if it's Einrichtung, it's the interior setup of something. Einrichten itself means to set up. And next one, Einführung is an introduction to something, in a sense of initial learning experience. So ich habe jemanden eingeführt would mean you showed the initial stuff to a person. Now, die Einfuhr, on the other hand, means that you bring something through customs. So einführen in itself, if you say ich habe ein Produkt eingeführt, means that you brought in a product. And what do we have? Oh, and then there's another use of it, das Einführen. If you say it with an object in regard to a person in a medical sense, is that you would shove something into a body opening. Not like a pill into the mouth, but if you would put down a tube for eating, or how those tubes are called anyway, you would you would den Schlauch einführen. I'm not sure how the tube would be called in English, in the medical sense. And the last one would be Einladung, so Einladung, which is an invitation. So you would use like, ich tue jemanden zum Geburi einladen, also Geburtstag, birthday, and so forth. Now, next would be ie or inne, depending on the dialect. And this is one-to-one or 100% interchangeable with drie, so darein. Now, Swiss German only has a hinein and no herein. Now, we don't use it in that sense. We use inne, ie, or drie, and they're interchangeable. In German, it depends if somebody or something comes into the room or gets out of the room, or you point at something and so forth. It changes, but in Swiss German, it doesn't matter. Where were we? So now, a couple of examples. So you have ie sitze, ie hocke, ie sta, ie liege, ie rühre, und ie schla. Now, the last one, schla, so hitting, actually changes if you use ie or inne or drie. Because if drie schla means that you hit it means hitting somebody in a sense of somebody just out of nowhere started hitting somebody. You would say, oh, hat einfach angefangen drie schla. But that's, it's really only in a special form, else it's 100% interchangeable. Now, inne, as used as innen, is only for words which we borrowed from the Germans. So inne, richtig, and it has to be a new word. It's not like all the old words, it doesn't work. It's, for instance, inne, richtig, so interior setup, or inne Ausstattung, which would be inne Ausstattung von einem Auto, would be the interior of your car. Those are newer words, and then it means inside. But else it's hinein, darein, so forth. And just to get this, how you call it? It could be confusing because inne, ie, and drie are the same. But dine und die is completely something different, as well as hine und hier. So dine in German would be drin, and die in German would be diese dort, or diese da. And hine is hinten, so in the back, and hier is here in German, or here in English. And so it differs completely with it doesn't, so this only works in the inne, ie, drie form as a prefix, not as a word itself. Then the meaning completely changes. So, as I said, today is a shorter episode, and sorry I didn't have that much time to prepare. So if there are no questions or let's say any comments or so forth, this would be the end of today. I will check now the Reddit post if anyone has posted anything, but I guess not because there aren't so many people on the stream. And yeah, with that being said, I will try to get Lele on the next stream. Hopefully he has time. It will be in 2 weeks on the 29th of January. And yeah, as there is, as far as I know, 1 second. Let's check everything again. No questions. So I would say you will hear from me in 2 weeks. Until then, have a nice day, nice time, and goodbye, everyone.